So here we are at Sundays with Spirit, our weekly spiritual gathering that we started doing in April 2020, and coming up on 3 years of our Sunday celebrations. And that's one of the many benefits that have come from the pandemic. Uh, of course, there's been a lot of challenge and difficulty in the pandemic, but there have also been tremendous benefits. And I think our gatherings on Sundays are one of these benefits. Yeah. So, Angela, are you praying today? Yeah. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela Potts Maganda, who is going to give us our opening prayer. She's one of our leaders in our staff. Power of Love Ministry has a beautiful staff of people, and Angela's part of that team, and Mary's part of that team too. Yes, we have a lot of wonderful people and a lot of wonderful facilitators. We got a few facilitators here as well. And Angela's also one of the certified spiritual counselors, and she's also a teacher in this ministry. And that's her daughter, Justine, with her. So Angela's praying and piloting today, and we're glad to have you both here. I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone. So grateful to place my hand on my heart and to join with all of you. So grateful to take a nourishing breath and to recognize the gift that it is to join together in love. So we declare a willingness to open our minds and hearts, to hear the truth, to feel the truth, to allow it to heal us. We're so grateful for Freddie and Faith coming to bless us with their music and their love for each other, which will come through in what they offer to us. We're grateful Jennifer's here and well, and that she will share from her heart with us. So we prepare ourselves to be receptive. We offer up any distractions, and we simply bask in the love that we are and the love that is here for us. We give thanks once again. We're letting it be, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Angela. All right. So, well, we've got Freddie and Faith. I'm going to start by introducing Faith and then Freddie. So, Faith is part of our Masterful Living community now for many, many, many years. And she started playing guitar when she was 10 years old and knew from then on that she wanted to have a career as a musician. She was initially very scared to sing, but her guitar teacher insisted she sing along to the song she was playing. She probably ended up playing and singing every Beatles song ever written. Faith studied music at DePaul University and then started her long career as a professional musician. She's been the music director for Agape International Sunday evening service for 15 years. And she's also served as the choir director for Reverend Jesse Brune's Inspire Spiritual Community Choir, Inspired Voices. As a member of the Agape International Choir, she shared the stage with legends and greats, including Earth, Wind, and Fire, David Foster, and Carl Anderson. And she's had the pleasure to perform for and share the stage with speaking icons, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, and Michael Beckwith. Faith loves singing so much that she began to help others learn to sing, forming her own coaching studio in LA. The Artist First Voice Studio, of which I've been a student, can't recommend her highly enough. She's presently on the staff of AMDA Conservatory in LA, and she calls her music artistry. And then my other dear friend here, Freddie, is a native of Southern California. His New York and LA credits include the LA premiere of Tick Tick Boom. And he's been in Children of the Night, Dreamgirls, Pippin, Miss Saigon, Josephine and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and Broadway Bears 13. His film and television credits include Star Trek, Ransom, Subway Stories, and Law and Order SVU. He's proud to be co-founder of the Sobar Productions Company, has starred with and directed such stars as Leslie Jordan, Bruce Villanich, Cirque du Soleil, Christian Slater, Gary Sinise, Mel Gibson, Sandy Patty, Julie Andrews, Denise Williams, Nia Peebles, Julie Garney, and others. He's performed in over 38 countries, and I'm so glad he's here today. He's also teaching acting and voice at the Freddie, Lara acting studios in Hollywood, California, and he just got certified as a meditation teacher. Yeah. Right.
Really exciting.
Yes. So bring it on. I'm turning it over.
Okay.
Hate to see you cry, lying there in that position. There's things you need to hear, so turn off your tears and listen. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it won't all go the way it should, but I know the heart of life is good. You know it's nothing new. Bad news never has good timing. But then the circle of your friends will defend the silver lining. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it won't all go the way it should, but I know the heart of life is good. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Fear is a friend that's misunderstood, but I know the heart of life is good. I know it's good. I know it's good.
Thank you so much. I love that song. Love to hear the two of you sing it. Oh, yes, very uplifting. And I have a correction to make. Frank is our pilot today. Frank is our pilot. He's given it a whirl for the first time, and very glad that you're here, Frank. Yeah, it's a double Frank day. That's a nice thing. We did yoga together this morning, and you told me you were going to be here, and I forgot the piloting part. All right. So as you can hear, my voice is challenged, but I'm turning it over to Spirit. And one of the things I've been thinking a lot about in the last week is my topic for my workshop, which is on Saturday coming up. So my topic on Saturday for the workshop is eliminating your resistance and reluctance. And I experienced resistance and reluctance very intensely for a very long time. And it's part of why it's so important for me now to do the work I do and to share what I've learned, because I honestly just never, ever thought I would be able to feel as connected to spirit as I do. I never, ever thought that I would feel free from negativity as I do. I just never imagined, seriously, never imagined that it was possible for me to get to the place where I am. And I'm for sure not done yet, you know. And I feel like I really live in an awakened place much of the time. And what I would like to say is what I know is you can too, and that it is not at all something special for special people. It's just not. It really is truly our natural state. And the biggest thing is to let go of any idea that we're not worthy of it. Now, as Course in Miracles students, which most of us are, as a Course in Miracles students, we may understand what I call the law of projection, the law of projection. So the way projection works is we have a belief, and then we shine the light of our awareness through that belief and project it onto the screen of our life. So I was thinking of some examples earlier. If we don't feel good about ourselves, if our belief is that we're lacking in some way, that there's something wrong with us in some way, that we're bad, then if somebody surprises us, let's say, with something where they might say like, oh my God, did you forget to do this or that? Did you, screw up in some way? That we would retract, clinch, we would either become very defensive or shut down, or we would react in some very strong way if we didn't feel good about ourselves. If there was a hint that someone didn't feel good about us, it would just instantaneously trigger us into that sense of lack within ourselves. And just so you can understand really how fast it works, I know you know, but think about the times when maybe you're just waking up in the morning or you're just falling asleep in the night, and all of a sudden you remember something, let's say that you forgot to do or that you should have done, or something like this, some error that you made, you suddenly see it very clearly. Even though you're half asleep, half awake, it can send a jolt of electricity through your body. Your heart is pumping, adrenaline is pumping, your breath is short now. And it's such an instantaneous reaction. Why? Because the way it works is, I forgot to do that thing. Why is it so upsetting? It's upsetting because I think for the most of us, the reason why it would be upsetting is because it's evidence that we're a screw up. It's evidence that we're not good enough. It's evidence that we've done something wrong, we're bad, we can never get it right, whatever those beliefs might be. And it happens so fast that we can be almost asleep And the dominoes go from I forgot that to I'm in trouble, I'm a bad person, and that jolt of electricity running through our chakras, through our adrenaline, our nervous system. And can you relate to this? Right? I mean, how many times have we felt that? How many times? So many times, right? But that's how deeply entrenched we are in that kind of negativity. And if you're like me, you don't actually think that that's going to go away. You think that you'll become a better person, so you'll have less of it. You don't, at least I sure didn't. I didn't really think, oh, these false beliefs are going to go away. Instead, I thought, I am going to behave in a better way, and then I will feel better about myself because I won't be as bad. It's kind of like that. So now I recently, or I'm actually in the midst of doing a series, a very long series. It turns out I didn't think so when I started. I thought it might be one episode, and now I'm coming up to episodes, part 7 of this series I'm doing on the obstacles to peace section in the text of A Course in Miracles. And so recently, as part of this series, I was looking at the part that's entitled The Attraction of Guilt. Not the attraction to guilt, but the attraction of guilt. So that feeling of badness, of wrongness, is actually born of that guilt, that unconscious guilt that Jesus tells us about in the Course. And that experience that I talked about, where you get that jolt of energy, that's an experience of the attraction of guilt. So when we believe we're guilty, then what happens is that that particular belief about our guilt, about us being guilty, it is very, very sticky, and it draws all these false beliefs, or it becomes the foundation for all of these false beliefs, which then magnetize into our awareness all kinds of thoughts. So for instance, let's say we forgot to send the email about, I don't know, something like, I'm trying to think of anything that would make sense here. I'm just waiting for Spirit to tell me what it is. That we forgot to send an email that we are going to check into the hotel a day later. And we think for a moment that, oh, maybe they'll charge us for an extra night that we don't need. And that belief that this would be evidence of our badness, our wrongness, our stupidness, whatever the meaning we make of it is, all of that happens so quickly. The belief is so present at the front of our awareness that it filters through that so quickly that we have this just instantaneous physical reaction. And it has to go first through our thoughts, then our emotions, to jolt into our physical. And still, it happens so quickly because we are so convinced, because it is so completely the lens that we're looking through. And this is what makes it so sticky. So the resistance and the reluctance that many of us feel much of the time is related to, we're resistant to putting ourselves out there. We're resistant to stepping into our magnificence and our greatness. We're resistant to stepping into a place where more people might see us, more people might observe us and perhaps find fault with us. We're resistant and reluctant to people relying on us or being dependent on us in different ways. And why? Because of our foundational beliefs about not being good enough, not being smart enough, not being strong enough, not being loving enough, not being whatever enough. And all of that stemming from that unconscious guilt. So the resistance and the reluctance can feel very, very thick at times, where we know precisely what we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to do it. And we know there's nothing about doing it that's hard or difficult or beyond our capacity in any way. But it would just mean that we would be advancing more along the path of our greatness, along the path of our divine blueprint, or the highest script that's written for us. And we are resistant to doing that because we feel unworthy, because we're afraid of more scrutiny, our own scrutiny, of course, first and foremost. We're afraid of putting ourselves out there. We're afraid of people observing us. We're afraid of people finding us coming up short. And so the resistance and the reluctance is to protect us from that scrutiny. It's to protect us from that. But unfortunately, it also requires the sacrifice of our happiness in order to continue with the resistance and the reluctance. Because for me, one of the things that really was one of the worst parts of my life was that deep feeling in my gut that I just was missing the boat. And I had dreams for years that were nightmares, and I didn't know it. All the times I had those dreams, I didn't know what they were really about was that I was taking detours, ego detours, and I wasn't following my bliss, as Joseph Campbell would say. I wasn't listening to my spiritual guidance. I wasn't doing what I think of now as answering my call. Instead, I mean, it looked like I was answering my call. I became a science of mind practitioner and a spiritual counselor and a minister. But I knew deep down that I was moving very slowly because I was so resistant and so reluctant. And of course, there is a lot more to it. But I know for me that pain was really unpleasant. It was really unpleasant. I didn't want to let myself move forward, and I couldn't stand holding myself back. And part of the meaning I made of it was that I must be spiritually stupid. That I felt that I was missing keys, codes, insights, special things that I couldn't seem to find that would open the door, unlock the door. I was looking for some kind of magical, mystical key to help me get out from under that resistance and that reluctance. Now, it's interesting because I don't feel like I have that anymore. I feel like I really let that dissolve and resolve. And one thing I can tell you is, and I just cannot say this enough, and I know I say it all the time because I don't feel like it can be said enough. There are so many religious and spiritual teachings in this world that talk about how to wake up, to attain enlightenment, to move forward on a spiritual path and all of that. But really, the number one thing is that willingness. It is the willingness to turn things over to spirit. It is the willingness to connect with spirit, to trust spirit, to put spirit in charge, to listen to spirit. And it seems to escape. Many people are looking, it escapes their awareness that it's not more complicated than saying, Spirit, I'm going to let you handle this. Here's what I'd like, and I'm putting you in charge of it. I'd like to let go of this fear and anxiety. I'm putting you in charge of it. And by you, I just mean our true self instead of our personality. But when we're looking for the solution in the world, then we've put our personality in charge. Haven't we? If we're looking in the world, isn't the personality in charge? And, the personality is not going to find it because the personality doesn't know where to look. Because the place to look is within. But as A Course in Miracles says many, many times, and I don't hear people repeating it all the time, but Jesus makes it really clear in the Course, nothing is withheld from us. Everything is given, nothing is withheld. So if we're looking in the world for things that have already been given to us, aren't we definitely looking in the wrong place? I mean, let's just be so practical about it. If somebody gives you a $100 bill and you take it, you put it in your pocket, you put it in your wallet, you put it in your bra, you put it, on your person. And then you think, I need money, and you start looking for it in the world. It must be that you have forgotten that you have money already. It's in your pocket. It's in your wallet. It's in your bra. It's in your purse, right? You've forgotten that you have that $100 bill. If you're thinking, I really need to get some money together here so I can go get some food, and you're searching your house, you're going out asking people for money, you have forgotten that the money is in your pocket. You've forgotten that you've already have it. But that's what spiritual students do every day. They go looking for some mantra, they go looking for something, but it's already been given. All of it's already been given. And it's really about just looking where it can be found. And that's why in my spiritual espresso today, I was saying that everything has been given, and that when we seek the kingdom first, we have to look within, and then everything is added unto us. So, but if we're looking out there for the kingdom, everything's not going to be added unto us because we don't know who we are. We don't know what our life is for. And we're here to be truly helpful. Every single one of us, without exception. And being truly helpful is cultivating the ability to see correctly, to know correctly, to perceive correctly. So resistance and reluctance can be very, very sticky, and they can show up in so many different ways. I would say I have yet to know. I know a lot of spiritual teachers, practitioners, prayer practitioners, and they all can tell you their stories of being stuck and resistance and reluctance. It's true for a lot of people. It's not true for everyone in every area of their life, but I would say it's true for everyone in some area of their life. Now, I'm going to make a turn here in this talk. It might seem strange, but it's been on my mind all week, and it feels like there's a correlation that we can make that will be helpful to us. And let's see what Spirit's going to bring forth on this. So back when I was a teenager, I wanted to manage rock and roll bands. I fell in love with the Rolling Stones and David Bowie, and I wanted to manage rock and roll bands because they had these stories of being totally ripped off by their managers. And I thought, I'm an honest person. I could be a good manager. I have a business mind, and I love rock music. This is what I'd like to do, is let the artists do their artistry, and I'll figure out how to do the business. So I wanted to go to school to learn the business of music, but there was no course for me to take, no college course for me to take, but there was the business of theater. So I went to college and started studying that. And then I really got interested in the theater, and I really liked it. And I decided to pursue that for a while and then come back to music, which is exactly what I did. And when I graduated Emerson College in Boston, and I moved to New York, and I was very fortunate. I moved to New York, and I had a great apartment at a great rate, and I had a great job at the New York Shakespeare Festival. And I worked at the New York Shakespeare Festival for a good 6 years or so, 6 or 7 years. It was a tremendous opportunity for me. I just saw every New York play practically every season. And so I was there in the early 80s. And instantly, I would say 9 out of 10 of my friends was a gay man. And I very proudly wore the badge of a fag hag. That was me. And it was not unusual for me to go to a party with 20 men and just me. You know, that was my life in the New York theater. And of course, I was there when AIDS began. And I was working at the New York Shakespeare Festival when Larry Kramer was writing the Normal Heart, and they were beginning to workshop it and do readings of it and things like that. So I was very much immersed in all of that. My friends started to die one after another. And it was a very, very intense time. And it was a very confusing time. And in many ways, it was a very dark time. And what I can see now that was hard to see then was that even even after the 60s and the 70s, even into the 80s, so many people were still in the closet. So many people were still in the closet. But AIDS forced them out. The resistance and the reluctance gave way to the reality of the situation, that people felt compelled to be honest. They even those who didn't want to be honest, you know, when people are dying and all of that, it becomes clear, oh, Steve was gay. Oh, that's why he died at 24 years old. You know, oh, oh, I see now what's happening. And many people started to come out to their parents and their coworkers, and all of that began to really dramatically change. The resistance and the reluctance started to collapse, to the resistance coming out. Now, of course, the resistance coming out was because of the homophobia, which was then and is still, but was particularly then, it was, I mean, if you weren't there, you have no idea how intense it was. You have no idea how intense it was. And so I knew at the time that a radical shift of consciousness was taking place. And what I felt at the time was that these men, these beautiful men, had come to give us a gift to break through all that resistance and reluctance, because the willingness wasn't really there. Even through all the 60s and the 70s, still so much resistance and reluctance because of the intense homophobia. And what is homophobia? It is the fear. It's really people could say, oh, it's the fear of homosexuals, but it's not. It is not. It is the fear of our own sexuality projected onto other people, that their sexuality doesn't make sense to us. My sexuality doesn't make sense to me. It's also confusing. I can't handle it. I hate that. My self-hatred projected out there. What I fear about myself projected out there. Right? It's the same with racism and sexism and all of this. It's deep insecurity and self-hatred projected out onto the world, onto other people. And so what we can see now is that the world we live in now, we would not be able to enjoy if those people hadn't died, it seems like, if they hadn't given their life for the cause, to open our hearts and to say, I can't handle this homophobia anymore. I can't handle it anymore. I can't perpetuate it anymore. I have to help alleviate it. And I remember, and Freddie will remember this too, maybe you too, Faith. I remember like in 2010, when we were working for gay marriage in California, that I remember saying to my congregation at that time, which was a mostly gay congregation, in West Hollywood, I remember saying, right now, it really seems like we're not going to get gay marriage, or that's a long way off. But I said, I am telling you that 20 years from now, we will see gay couples in restaurants with their children, and nobody will stare at them any more than they do any other couple with their children. That, we will, that whole fear of gay marriage and gay families is going to fade away. Now, of course, we're seeing a backlash against that coming right now, a wave coming. And it's, the resistance and the reluctance is coming up again. And I think what we can offer as spiritual students to people who are really struggling in the midst of the racism and the sexism and the horrors of the police brutality and things that we've seen in recent days, of just hatred poured out on completely innocent people, that is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. And one of the ways that we can speed it along is to just look at our own resistance and reluctance to love those and pray for those who despitefully use other people. Pray for them that despitefully use you. Pray for your enemies. Of course, no enemies. We don't have any enemies. All is one. But to continuously pray for the people who are terrified that their straight white world is going to disappear. And the only reason they're terrified is because they have no clue, not a single tiny little shred of a clue, of how much better their life could be without all those isms. They have no idea. They are lost in the wilderness. And it is our spiritual responsibility to have a profound compassion for them and to pray for them, to recognize the light within so that they can see it in others. Why else would so many profoundly beautiful and innocent people have their lives taken? The constant shock and horror. And I think it's really important for us to open our hearts and minds and say, what can we do? Of course, we have resistance and reluctance. We've got enough to do, right? We all have enough to do. There's so much stuff to do. And we all have a list of things that we think we should be doing that we don't even want to do, but we should be doing. Those are the things that would make us better people, more effective at our jobs, and more effective as parents, and more effective as grandparents, and better human beings. Look, I've got closets that need to be cleaned, and I've got this and this and this and this and all this. But what is Spirit nudging us to do in our neighborhood, in our community, in our workplace, in our family? So let's place our hands on our hearts. I know for me, the best part of my life has always been the time that I give in service to the light. In whatever way I'm called to do it. To sit with a total stranger, to take a call at 6 o'clock in the morning or at, just as I'm turning out the light. I mean, the times that I have just been available to answer that call have been some of the most rewarding times of my entire life. So is there something in your family, in your workplace, in your neighborhood that you're being called to do that you have a natural resistance and reluctance to? You don't know where it's going to lead. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. You don't want to go to places that you're not familiar with. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. But there are so many people who really need someone to talk with. And they might be somebody who has politics that you totally disagree with. It might be somebody you've always felt an aversion to. And there's so many people in this world that we pass by who don't look very happy, who don't look very healthy. And so we kind of ignore them. We don't really we pretend not to really see them. We don't take them in. But what if we could just bless them and make our days prayers without ceasing? Sending out waves of love and light. Is there anyone you could be a support to? Step out of your comfort zone. Just say hi, have a conversation, and make it part of your practice every day. So that the murders of these innocent people can start to fall away and drop. We can model in this world what it means to be our brother's keeper, and we don't have to take them in and feed them necessarily, but even just thinking wonderful thoughts about them, makes all the difference in the world. Just thinking that someone's worth speaking with, it could make their day. All right, so let's contemplate this some more as we go into our song here with Faith and Freddie.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath.
I hear your SOS, your SOS. Love will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, love will rescue you.
There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over.
You're not defenseless. Love is your shelter, love is your answer. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. Love will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, love will rescue you. Love will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, love will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper, you have nothing left. Love will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, love will rescue you. Love will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, love will rescue you. Oh, love will rescue you.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Wow. Tell us about that song.
It's a, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's a Lauren Daigle song. And And it's been on the internet like lately, especially with the playing. We just learned this song together this morning, basically, and we knew it was the right song for today. And of course, it just fits your message so much. In the lyric of the song, it says, "I will rescue you," but we changed it to "love," because it, you know, it's like, and even though we are the love, we are the ones rescuing, so we are the love, but
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you changed it to love. Yes. The love will send out an army in the middle of the night. It's just like, oh, it's so true. In the middle of the darkest night, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. This is why just being willing to live outside the uncomfort zone, the comfort zone that's not comfortable, and just say, oh, Spirit, I'm going to take a chance on you. I'm going to just trust. I don't want to be in charge of my life anymore. I just don't want to be in charge of it anymore. I mean, that was really what I did, is I just said, I don't want to be in charge of it anymore. I'd like to be the follower. I'd like to be the disciple. Yes. All right, so we're going to do that beautiful thing we do here. We're going to get into our breakouts and give you an opportunity to share and discuss what came through for you in terms of any guidance you got from Spirit. And even if what came up was just more resistance and more reluctance, let's bring it to the light by discussing it and talking about it. So Frank's our pilot. He's going to open the rooms here for us. And just please, in your room, make sure that everybody who would like to share gets a chance to share. And we don't give any advice. We don't give any advice in our community here. We're non-judgmental, compassionate listeners and sharers. So here we go. And I'll see you in a little bit. All right. So those who are here are on the Facebook Live. And I'm going to go to Faith. Would you like to share something?
Sure, yeah. There we go. The magic of two computers.
Yeah.
So yes, what a deep message today, and how I'm thinking about, we were talking about the reluctance of sharing our gifts and talents without hesitation, and all of the reasons that we could come up with. Freddie and I were talking about why we couldn't, what was stopping us, all of the reasons from making a difference in the world. And it's really just letting go of all of that we're not good enough. It really comes down to that. For me, I know that it comes down to and this thing that I carry around is I'm not ready yet. I'm not quite ready yet. So if I practiced a little bit more, if I did this, or if I really worked on my talk, or whatever it is that I want to do to get out in the world, worked on my program a little bit more. But the truth is, when I've really made a difference in the world, it was just because I said yes and showed up. And so often I just had no idea how it was going to go. Had
Yes.
no idea.
Yes.
Freddie, you probably had that same experience, right?
Well, we're talking over there, and it struck me, so I had the last 2 shows I've done were nominated for Best Musical. And then I had that 10 years where I was relapsing and very sick and unwell. And you were there, Jennifer, you saw that. And now next Tuesday, the 31st, I will have 3 years clean again. And about the middle of the first year, I remember sitting there going, well, why aren't you doing shows anymore? Why aren't you going out and auditioning anymore? I don't know. I don't know. What has stopped me? The last 2 shows were nominated for Best Musical. That sort of implies that I'm at the level where I can be in a show that gets nominated for Best Musical. And yet something in my mind had told me for all those years that I was self-destructing basically. And I was basically, my self-esteem, I was destroying my self-esteem during that time. I mean, what else is drug addiction but a self-destructive force? But it struck me, why are you not doing it? So anyways, I auditioned and I got a part, and I'm in a new show now. And but that song that we just sang, that we learned this morning, that what you said about the armies coming, I remember when I was using and really, really lost in my disease, you called me, Jennifer. First of all, Faith housed me for a while, and then you called me and you said, Spirit told me that if I didn't bring you to Kauai with me, you were gonna kill yourself. And I was that close.
I know.
I was that close, but love came to find me,
Yeah.
So when I sang that Heart of Life is Good, it talks about your friend sticking up for the silver lining. That's what struck me, is that even though I could not, in my own disease and my own unwellness, my own whatever, it still came to find me. It still came to find me and pulled me out of it, and now, I graduated last Sunday as a meditation teacher. I'm doing this show, blah, blah, blah. Life is coming up on 3 years again. Life is pretty good. And, but if you had not called, if she had not housed, it came after me. Love came to find me. Even when I could not, it just found a way. And that song is just hit me so hard.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's when, and as you always say, Jennifer, it's in our willingness to answer the call. And you said something in your talk that really hit home with me, is that you were it looked like you were doing everything you were supposed to be doing. You were in ministerial school, and you were reading all the books, and you were doing all that, but there was something calling you to, like, okay, we got work to do.
Yeah.
And we all have that, whatever it is that's calling us. I know for me, it's my music, it's my ministry, it's my, how I can help people with their voices, and emotional freedom, all of that. And if I choose not to say yes, what we're doing is that, this change in the world that we're witnessing right now, is that we have been witnessing all our lives, that is, when we say yes, when I say yes, when I'm in my willingness to do that, if one person gets loved, if that love extends to one other person, they extend it to another person, then we are in this place of a love revolution.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm signing up for the love revolution.
Yes. Yes. We are signed up. Yes. Yeah.
Who's that little girl? Who's that little girl? She needs to come to my acting class. She can sell cereal to anybody. She's so darn cute. What's your name?
Justine.
Justine. That's right, girl. She knows exactly who she is. Justine.
Show them what you made yesterday.
Louder.
Oh, she's shy, but she made the love soap yesterday.
The love
So this
soap.
is our big emoji today.
It smells very good.
It does.
Yeah. Well, you could sell the love soap. I even have your commercial song ready. Love soap, baby, love soap.
Oh,
What does it smell like, Justine?
It's like it's like a strawberry cheesecake.
Ooh.
it is.
I picked that, and you know what? This girl said, "Ooh, yuck," and I said, "Ooh, yummy," and I did, "Ooh, yuck, yucky chocolate."
She can
And
sell
then-
anything to anyone.
And then I said, "Yummy cheesecake." I wanted cheesecake.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so cute. Thank you, Justine. Yeah, so resistance and reluctance. It's, you know, A Course in Miracles, as you all know, the number one characteristics of God's teachers is trust. And just to be willing to be trusting is all that's required. We don't even actually have to have trust. We just have to have willingness to trust. And then we are taught how to trust. We can learn how to trust. And I'm so grateful that that is true. We can learn how to trust. Yeah. Angela, would you like to share something?
Well, I'm so grateful to be here as always. And you know, it was like, do you have a surveillance camera in my, like when you started, it was like, she has a surveillance camera in my house. In terms of when you started talking about those triggering moments, that intense emotion that comes and how it's, and you know, my husband took the whole smoothie yesterday that he was supposed to leave me half, and it was like, wow.
He wanted the whole smoothie.
Yeah, Justine was there and she witnessed me being angry about it. And it was like so silly, right? But it's like, no, I got up, I took the berries out, they're not cold anymore. Now the whole thing is taken. But it was, I know what it was. It was that I was using the word like, I got the shaft, you know, it was so deeper than it was an accident, but it was like, no, I'm being overlooked here. I'm not being acknowledged. It was so deep. It came so intensely, just like you spoke of. And, you know, that was my moment. And so I can do my do-over. And this is, you know, if you're listening at home, you can do your do-over even after you had you were reactive. And so that was my moment to say, Spirit, help me. You know, because I was conscious and unconscious at the same time. So I need help. I was both. I know. And so that was really helpful to me in terms of a do-over. And so that I was really grateful for. And I'll end with the beauty of having a child who is the essence of love. I mean, there's moments too, right? Her ego is also developing in full swing. So it's just this beautiful practice. There was a man who used to sit in our town in the same spot. It was like his stoop. And he literally would just have those little liquor nips and he would hang out there all day. We'd pass him on her bike. We would always pass him. We learned his name was Keith. We met him. Keith, who actually ended up dying in that spot a few months ago.
The one we were picking up before we were going to Addie's house?
No, that's a different man who we found at a bus stop, passed out, that we brought home. But today there was a man who was a friend of Keith's in his spot, and we just didn't know his name yet. We hadn't known his name. We met Keith. We had passed him enough times. We talked to him, and
Keith.
he's the man who passed away. He fell into the stream, like across the street. But his friend, what I loved is
Keith.
today we saw his friend, and Justine, as we left, we said our hellos to this man. And then Justine said, Mom, you didn't ask him his name. We don't know his name. And I'm like, thank you. We've been talking about that. So I turned around and we know his name is Rob, but it's like, but she remembered, and it's just so beautiful. But it's just like you're saying, you think it's small,
and I remember.
but we know his name.
I remember.
And so those were the two things I'll share today. But I thank you, Jennifer, because Martin Luther King is coming through so strong this month, of course, but literally
Luther King died also.
he did. But we have a book, and she just brought the book and opened to his page at prayer time for no.
I can show.
Well, yeah. But that's just what's coming through your message. And
This book. This is the book.
yeah, we'll find the page and we'll show you, but we'll pass it to somebody else. So thank you for listening.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of it. Yeah. Faith and Freddie, do you have anything more to share? We have just a tiny bit of time left.
What about Frank?
Well, what about Frank, we were saying, yeah.
Frank, would you like to share? He's watching he's
Watching everything, yes.
usually, yeah, the pilot doesn't, yeah.
It's interesting, the pilot, that's such a great, the pilot is the Holy Spirit within us, right? And if we listen to the pilot always, the pilot's going to bring us on course, go here, we go here, we go here, but we're always going home. Always going home. I think there's a song in there. The pilot, the Holy
Jesus,
Spirit.
take the wheel,
pilot.
honey.
Yeah. Holy
Have you
Spirit
got the
pilot.
page, Justine?
Oh yeah. Here, you can show them now.
The secret?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The king, yes,
there we
girl.
go.
Ah, wow.
Yes, good
Wow.
for you, Christine. That's right, girl.
Beautiful,
That's right, girl.
beautiful.
Perfect. Great uncle.
Okay, everybody's going to be back here soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, as usual, but in a very special way, as I shared in the chat, I thought today is a especially deep and close and a special privacy with the music and with what you shared from your deepest heart. And I also can so relate to how it feels to get over this first reluctance when contacting people, when making some when how Pink Floyd say, take down the wall. When we take down the wall, that's so rewarding.
Yes. Yes. All right. Welcome back. How was your breakout? Was it good? All right. So I'm inviting you to share in the chat, as I always do. I'd love to hear any decisions you made, any ideas you have, any declarations, and to hold them with you and for you. So please do share in the chat. And
What's going on?
It's me.
that's Freddie and Sue. Faith unmuted there. So here's what's going to happen. We are going to, just got to change my view back. we're gonna share a few announcements. We're gonna have another magnificent song from Freddie and Faith. And then we're gonna have another prayer from Angela, and then we'll be done. All right. So announcements. I'm doing my Eliminating Your Resistance and Reluctance workshop next Saturday. And it is really designed for spiritual students who are feeling that they're holding themselves back and like they're pressed up against a glass wall and they can't figure out how to break through. For folks who just know that there's a greater yet to be that's calling them and they're avoiding it. So if you feel like that might be you, come and join us on Saturday. I promise to make it fun. And the other announcement I'll just make is that the Power of Love Ministry is funded by our classes and our donations. And so, and our classes don't cover everything. So your donations really help us to be able to do things at low cost and at no cost. So thank you for your donations. Thank you for writing reviews for the podcasts and everything else we're doing. And thank you for your donations that help support the staff that is critical to our being able to do anything at all. Because they are not volunteers, they are fully paid, and your donations help pay them. All right, I'm going to pass to Freddie and Faith. If you have any announcements you'd like to make.
Well, I just put into the chat my websites and Freddie's websites and our emails, and both of us teach voice, and Freddie has his acting class, and I work with speakers as well in their voice. So if you want to reach out, if there's something that you can do, Freddie's doing some meditation retreats.
Yes, I'll be doing one on Saturday for Recovery Dharma. It's online and it's in person, but you can reach out to my email there. And I am starting a new Zoom acting class. It's a holistic approach to acting. We use a lot of the principles that we use here in this class, in this meeting with Jennifer. And of course, I am always available to meditate with you. Just email me, okay?
Okay. Are we ready for a song?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Well, I sure did love the last one where it said that love will send an army to find you. Well, this one is kind of the same idea. So if you want to close your eyes and imagine your higher power, your source talking to you, that would be perfect. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When evening shadows and the stars appear and there is no one there to dry your tears, I will hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. There's no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue. I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret, the winds of change are blowing wild and free. But you ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. Nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you, to make you feel my love, to make you feel my love.
Beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You know, you don't think of Bob Dylan as someone who writes gorgeous love songs. But he's written quite a few gorgeous love songs, and that is one of them.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And Freddie just sang it amazingly.
Yes, beautiful. All right. So, have you had enough? Well, that's what we got for you today. And we're going to close it out with a prayer from Angela and Justine.
All right. So grateful, so thankful to place my hand on my heart. So grateful for the love that we have shared here, that we have remembered and recalled, and that we have activated. We're so grateful for this deep and powerful message to go forward and be the teachers of God, be the light of the world, be the initiator of peace. We're so grateful to let Spirit show the way in each moment. We're grateful to rededicate ourselves to be in communion with Spirit, letting love guide us, letting love navigate all things for us. We're grateful for Freddie and Faith and their beautiful electricity that they bring together, this powerful duo. We're so grateful for the joy, the upliftment. We go forward to share and shine and lead and guide.
Bobby.
We let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for spending time with us. We love you. Mwah. Bye for now.